Another thing that will help with the forming of the new creation is for humanity to learn more about the proper use of energy. This enlightenment will carry over into all phases of life in the new creation. The air that hits plants or humans or a body of water is energy, a vital, sparkling, tingling, alive energy. Picture a glass of water with an Alka-Seltzer tablet dropped in it. This activity takes place on top of the water and would be a good description of what the energy waves hitting Earth would look like if you could see them. All the teachings coming through in this time period, including these chrysalis teachings, have one ultimate goal in mind: to teach humanity the correct use of energy in all its many manifestations. All life and creation is based on energy, and the new teachings must be on its use and misuse in all areas of creation and life forms on any and all planets. We of the higher planets simply have more experience in learning and experimentation in the uses of energy. Therefore, our attempts to help educate humanity from this realm in this area. We live lives similar in rhythm cycles to yours, but different in day-to-day activities. We worship our Creator the same way you do, only we can become part of Him while worshiping Him. This is extremely hard to explain, but we'll try. Because we are thought form energy, we can think ourselves home and be there instantly to be renewed and rejuvenated by the energy found in the central core. This energy is in the form of warmth, beauty, and love, so encompassing that one worship session will last us for 2 to 3 years of your Earth time. This is what worship should be on your plane, a sense of communion with your Creator, which you will find inside your mind in thought form. You really end up worshiping yourself, the God within. The correct use of energy is one of the 7 new concepts being brought onto the Earth plane for the move into the new consciousness. Humanity needs to understand much more about energy vibrations because this is the one great influence on everything in the universe. Humanity's understanding of how energy vibrations work is comparable to the kindergarten student's conception of how the atomic bomb works. Energy hits the Earth at a set rate of 7 waves per second. This will change to 11 in the future. For now, I'm going to discuss the 7 waves per second. I'd like you to picture water hitting the beach. It hits at 1 wave per 30 seconds. Imagine it at 7 waves per second. You can't even mentally count to 7 in 1 second. It is a faster current of air washing continuously over Earth. This cannot be felt. It is not like a breeze or wind. It has a pulsing motion like a heart pumping blood. The pulsations are fast enough that they form a steady rhythm that is not sensed or felt, but nevertheless is there. This rhythm influences everything on the planet. You might call it the heartbeat of the Creator God that sends the blood through the universe. It does originate at the central core and is a steady stream coming up through the black hole that gave birth to Earth. It is what keeps Earth in place and turning and spinning. Picture a ping-pong ball sitting on top of an air jet. If that air pressure changes, the position and spinning of the ball will be affected. The birth of the new star that will take place soon is going to change the air coming up under Earth and change her position slightly and increase her spin slightly. She will be literally lifted a little higher, tilted just a bit, and will spin just enough faster to increase this pulsation to 11 pulses per second. Right now, if things on Earth could be timed to harmonize with these 7 beats per second, they would work well. Yes, machinery also. The human body, plants, bodies of water, everything in nature is in harmony with them, or they are ill or not growing well, or in the case of water, not being cleansed. The bodies of water will clean themselves constantly if the proper pulsations hit their surface. Any pollutants on the surface block the pulsations and affect the cleanliness of the water. The trees and plants are affected the same way. The smog in and around our cities has the effect of coating the plants, so the pulses are not felt as they should be. This is part of the need for rain, not only to water the roots, but to wash the dirt and film from the growing plants. Humans are affected probably to a larger degree than plants by anything that changes these pulses that are hitting the body at all times. Dirty, polluted air is, of course, the worst offender. The body, the lungs, and heart do adapt in time, just as they adapt to altitude changes, but it takes its toll on these organs. If a limb is kept in a cast for any length of time, it is affected, because the waves cannot reach through that cast. it begins to die because of the lack of these energy waves. The energy waves are made up of many different particles of bubbling, fizzing matter, a combination that has many elements beneficial to all life on Earth. These are so infinitesimal that at present on Earth we have not the means to dissect these energy waves, so their makeup is not known to us. When the way is found to analyze and break down the ingredients in the elixir of the universe, then will the new energy form be understood. I want to discuss the energies coming into the Earth today. There are many things being affected by the strength of these new energies. It is the energies from other planets that are being beamed to us from spaceships that are above us. The energy from these other planets has always affected Earth more at one time than another, depending on the position at any given time of that particular planet in relation to Earth. With these ships close in now, these energies can be controlled. For instance, the energy of Mars or Saturn or any planet can be increased or decreased from what it would ordinarily be. These can only be done when their position in relation to Earth is at the right place. The timing of the energy will not be changed. They can only control the intensity of the energy. The energy from different planets has a different effect on humanity and also on plant and animal life. The study of the effect on plant life has not been thoroughly pursued. It needs to be. Each species of plants is affected differently in its growth by the different energies. It would be similar to drawing up an astrological chart for the vegetable and fruit crops. These energies will be harnessed in the future and trained on fruits and vegetables through colored lights in the fruit and vegetable barns. These lights are the different energies coming from the different planets. Animals are affected the same as humans by their birth times and places, not to as great a degree, of course, but only as much as evolution has advanced that particular animal. Animals can be trained by controlling the energies they receive from birth on. For instance, a litter of pups can be separated and one of them be placed constantly under red light, which is an aggressive energy from Mars. Another can be bask in amber light with a marked increase in intelligence, and so on. The same concept can be applied to humans. This would be a furthering of the astrological chart. In other words, once the chart is laid out in red and the goals are known, then the colors would be used to increase the energy of the particular goal. This is taking astrology one step further, an aid to getting more out of having your astrological chart done. These same energies can be applied to music. An instrument could be built using the energies in the form of intensified colors to activate the sound, which would be a combination of strings and air. The beam of light would heat the air to a certain degree, depending on the color, and the air would cause a vibration of the strings, not wire strings or plastic, but what is called gut strings. The different keys on the keyboard would cause different colored lights, alone or in combination, to activate the different strings. This gives forth the most beautiful sound. A soothing, calming tone is produced. This is the xylolute, an instrument of the future. It is not an electric instrument. There will be no such thing as electricity used in the instrument. The energies themselves will be controlled. They will be minutely drawn out of the atmosphere itself by magnets that attract the different energies to activate the lights. Think of it as a solar battery that will always be charged. The instrument is actually battery-powered. This same process will be used in the medical field, only the channeling of the energy will be put to different uses. The mineral kingdom is also affected by energies, but only as storage areas for them. This field can and will be greatly elaborated on, and much use will be found for different crystals, natural crystals, not man-made. These crystals can, even now, have the energy they give off intensified by leaving them under different colored lights. The uses they could have are many. One use is in radio transmission. Another is in healing and preventative medicine. They will also be used in transportation, in climate control, and even more. There has been no attempt since Jesus was here to tell humanity about their origins, as it was determined that the genes that were infused into the race were like time delay capsules. This was not intentional, but nevertheless this is a result of the mating. These time delays have been twice as slow in releasing their built-in knowledge as they would have been on the planet they came from, due to the dense animal bodies into which they were inseminated. The knowledge is just beginning to explode inside some people now, like the first stage of a time-release aspirin. The truth is all so simple that one wonders how man could have messed it up so badly. It is the utter rejection of life on other planets and other solar systems that is the basic cause of continuing ignorance. This is the direct fault of the churches. They have taken the teachings that the space fathers gave to humanity in the caveman stage of evolution and never let these teachings keep pace with evolving humanity. Consequently, today, they are basing their teachings on what is equal to a fairy tale for children with a hint of right or wrong action in it. The ostrich can only keep his head buried in the sand for so long, humanity also. They simply will have to face the fact of their beginnings, and that they have believed fairy tales, if they really honestly do believe them. These fairy tales are doing much harm by holding back the evolving man from reaching his full potential of a divine soul. This is the ultimate goal for humanity. Jesus was indeed humanity's savior at that time period, but evolution continues, and a new savior is needed now. How long can one man's teaching stretch to save people? He himself has gone past the teachings he once gave and is trying and has been trying to update them. As he himself has grown and evolved, he attempts to pass on new concepts to humanity to update his previous ones. Wouldn't a professor in high school or college do the same thing? As they upgrade and update their own education and learn new theories and concepts and experiment and test and prove them, wouldn't they try to share these with their students? To not do this would not make a very wise teacher, would it? Doesn't humanity think that the Christ is wise enough to want to update outmoded concepts that he once taught to his people? This upsets him, that they won't give him credit for being that wise of a teacher. These teachings coming through at long last are the best effort so far by the Christ at updating humanity's outgrown clothing. How long can they go around with clothing that's too small, too tight, that constricts and binds them and keeps them from expanding? How also can they ever hope to see him if they do not keep pace themselves with his own growth and evolvement? People must use their intelligent reasoning mind and expand the cells within their universe to take advantage of their unused gifts. The new creation is the understanding of the new teachings, although a major portion of humanity will never be able to understand these new teachings. They simply are not evolved enough because the human heart is tied emotionally to the biblical story. Whether we know it consciously or not, we quickly find out we are when we try to break free of former beliefs. This is not just a result of this lifetime, we must remember, but of every incarnation we have had in the last 2,000 years. Each religion embraces part of the truth, but only part. This is not the direct fault of any on earth today, but it is the fault indirectly of all on earth today, because we were all here on earth as other entities when the misinterpretations crept in. Therefore, we are all equally to blame, and we are all equally capable of correcting the wrong teachings. As a matter of fact, we helped write and shape and form the biblical story. We must now help write and shape and form the new creation. Any creative enterprise that is undertaken is doing exactly that, and this fact must be kept in mind by anyone who attempts to create an item that will be read, used, looked at, or listened to. Take, for instance, books. Non-fiction books are the ones that will have the most effect, because people realize to a certain extent when reading fiction that it is make-believe. I believe that authors and publishers should take responsibility for what is put before the public, as this is what is shaping the future. It is time to move on. Each stage of evolvement for humanity must change. It cannot possibly stay in the same mold that it has been. It must continue to change. The Creator's world is changing constantly at every second. How can people believe that they can just stand still? They cannot. Progress has been made, and more will be made. The more that awaken at this time, the faster this progress will be made, and the diseases and sicknesses of humanity will then have a better chance of being eased. When will humanity accept their potential? If they could only realize what they are capable of, what great powers of the mind they do possess, they would realize more fully that they are indeed God within themselves. They are belittling our Creator when they do not develop and use His mind power that He instilled in all of them. They are certainly not using the glory He bestowed on them. They are but poor imitations of what He expected of them. It is ultimately their own progress in evolution they are hurting. Each individual is hurting all others, and the Creator also, when they refuse to open their minds to the great glory of which they are capable and start believing these truths. This was what Jesus tried to teach them, but most only give lip service to believing and truly don't believe it. They seem to think that the physical form is all there is. When they understand the coming together of the genes from space with the animal forms, the merging and the struggle for control of the form, and the death of the form, and the return of the spirit to experience again and again in new and different forms, they will eventually accept the truth. It has to strike a familiar chord somewhere along the way. Those of you who know the facts in these teachings to be true, and those of you who do not believe the churches have the facts right, must stand up and be counted. There is no longer any time left to sit on the fence or pretend to follow the beliefs of the churches. You must all come out into the open and start expressing your views. Certainly this will take courage, the courage of your convictions, but we need to have your strength of belief. The more support and belief in man's divine heritage, the more certain he is to be able to achieve his inheritance. Ultimately, it is up to man himself. Free will be the victor.